My guest for this evening. I don't need anybody else. When I have Pete on, it's great.
Hello.
Mr. Pete Crapia is back with us. Pete comes on the show. He's great. He's a great guest. He'll come on. Like, he lives not too far from the station, so he can kind of pop on here in a pinch anytime you need him or that. And so I contacted him the other night. I said, hey, you want to come on? I don't really have anybody set for February. If you want to, there was like another person, like a maybe person coming on. But I said, you want to do it? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I like
Pete'll come on the show, so Pete's
can
here.
you hear me? Because I can't hear myself now.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Maybe moving just a little
No,
closer.
before it was louder. in my
Moving just a
ears.
bit closer to the mic.
Really?
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Okay, I'm not going to be like... Okay.
Yeah, just don't hit yourself in the mouth with the mic.
Right, that's what
It's
I'm
got a
worried
big
about.
dent in it. Maybe somebody did that
That's why I
already.
see that. They were chewing on the mic.
Yeah, somebody was doing that, yeah. Yeah, these days with that flu, that, what's the name of that Chinese flu that's going around?
The
Coronavirus
it's a
or
type
something.
of virus.
Yeah, whatever the thing is. Yeah, you don't want
classified as a
to.
type.
You're very cautious about putting anything in your mouth. You know, going to a store and touching something and then putting it to your mouth or anything. Ugh.
That's why I'm
Just don't wanna-
single and staying away from women.
Well, I don't know if you want to do that, but maybe stay away from Chinese women. But no, I shouldn't say that. We don't want to single out Chinese women. But no.
So what would you like to talk about tonight?
Whatever you want to do, Pete.
You ain't got nothing
Pete's
in mind?
specialty is Bachelor's Grove. That's
Yeah,
the love.
that's my thing.
That's the love of his life. So if you
But
want,
you were just saying you're getting tired of Bachelor's Grove.
I'm not really getting tired.
A lot of drama out there, huh?
Well, that's the thing. I'm just getting a little tired of some of the drama and stuff that's going on with that. But the Grove itself, no, I will never tire of that. I've
No.
always loved Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. It's always a neat place to visit and that.
Well, it's my second home, so...
I know you have a tree house over there or something. I think you
Yep.
live in somewhere over there or a hole
I live with the
underground or
nuts.
something. I don't know
Yeah.
what you do. Yeah. Yeah, Pete's always there. If you go in the good weather anytime in spring and summer, chances are you will run into
But
Pete Crapia.
I've been taking a break this winter.
Oh, you go out in the winter too?
Well, usually I do.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
So,
thought you were just
yeah.
like spring and summer out there.
No. You know, I'm a year-round guy. But this year I wanted to like focus on building equipment for studying the area. So
Building equipment. What sort of equipment are you
Yeah.
building? Like some voice boxes and things?
Oh
and-
God, no, not that. Not,
Yeah,
not,
I know,
Well,
yeah.
not what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Not that ghost box
Yeah.
crap. But
Diacovox.
let's just say something more sophisticated and actually gives you something to look at later to understand your strange results you may be getting out there.
Video or sound?
Oh,
or both.
Oh, that and beyond
Okay.
beyond.
Well,
The
wait a minute.
hardest,
What do
the
you mean?
hardest
Wait,
one I've been
wait a
working
minute.
on.
What's beyond? There's video and
there's-
sound. What else is there?
Wow, we're gonna open up a whole new book for you, huh? One of my favorites that I wanted to explore was optical audio. Listening to your
Optical audio, visual audio.
So think about that.
So like
you're,
sound waves
you're
that
mentioning
you can
camera,
see?
so
Yeah,
there's
okay.
your visual, right? And you want some audio. So my thing, when I be at the bench soldering stuff up, sometimes I need to use certain optical equipment that has to put out a digital pulse or something. So I had these little receivers just so I can listen to the pulse and hook it up to a oscilloscope or a computer to look at the waveforms. And one day I took a little pocket version of this, a real cheap one, and I was at Bachelor's Grove, and I just happened to have this thing, and I'm like, I wonder. And so I turned it on. I'm just listening to the ambient background of the like sunlight and whatever, the light source around me. And it was getting towards dusk, which was like a perfect time to do that. You don't want too much sunlight with one of these devices. And I'm around the center of the cemetery, and I'm pointing this thing, and I start hearing this weird flutter. Now, it's not too unusual to hear like a flutter, depending on the source and how it's reflecting off of something and so on and so forth. But there was something different about this flutter I haven't heard before, at that point. So I'm like, what the hell is this? And I just kept it pointing, and I'm just aiming this thing, listening. But there was somebody behind me, some lady, and they were taking photographs at the time on digital. And because back, this was quite a few years ago. Some people still use
Oh, I thought this
35
was recently.
Like no. This is like, I don't know, maybe it's
The way
been
you're
50
sounding like this, I
It's
thought
probably
this was
15
like-
years now. I don't remember. It's
Oh, gee,
been
I
that
thought
long.
this was recent, the way you talked about this.
No,
Okay.
so some were using 35 mil, some digital. Luckily, she had a digital. But what happened was she walked up to me. She said, "Excuse me, I don't know what you're doing, but maybe you need to see this picture." And she shows me the view, a digital display, and it shows like this 4 or 5 foot ball of something that looks illuminated in front of me, where I'm pointing.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, that's really weird. What is that? So it's kind of like, you got something there in the picture. It's not like, oh, hey, that's dust. somebody could try claiming
Just a giant
that somewhere.
orb or something.
Well, all
or
we know
what?
is it's a.
You
it was
never
a big-
mentioned this before. As many times as we talked about Bachelor's Grove.
I have a
when
lot
you're
of
on here,
stuff
and
I haven't mentioned.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So this is a big ball of something that looks to be illuminating from what you're seeing on camera on the viewfinder, or whatever the display. And
you-
yet, but at the time, I'm actually listening to the light source. Is it a coincidence? Probably not. There was something giving off photons. I'm getting a little technical, right?
Yeah,
But
okay.
it looks like something was giving off photons
All right.
that I was able to hear, that her camera actually captured, and it was quite large. We're not talking fist size. We're talking big. Now, we do get these in that particular part of
Now,
the
she caught this on film.
not 35 mil, digital.
Do you have a copy?
I bring
of,
that up because back in the day, it's like people take.
do you have a copy of that thing?
Well, they were,
anywhere, or-
it's one of those things like, hey, I'll send it to you. And
Yeah,
I have a
yeah, I
website.
know how you
And
what
it
you
just
mean,
never
yeah.
happened. So I'm
Yeah.
like, but luckily, this guy named Scott Marcus, he's out there. He does stuff related to this, paranormal stuff. And he's had his moments at the Grove and so on and so forth. And he got to show me an original photograph of something that happened to him and his mother and somebody else. I think it was maybe an aunt with them. But they noticed a cold spot, or what they thought was a cold spot at the cemetery, and he decided to take a picture, and there was a ball of light, much smaller. I don't know if this thing was only a foot or two or whatever the hell it was, but it did happen to be in the same area. I thought, okay, that's interesting. But over time, like, maybe I'm getting off on a side topic, but for the Grove, that particular area gets these really, like, I've seen 6-foot solid black masses and balls with people there with me to see this stuff. And it's just really, really weird. Okay.
Yeah. I
But
would-
why that particular spot, this particular area, this cemetery, where this, I don't really hear
who knows?
hear
Yeah, you
about
don't
it or
know. Yeah,
see it
mhm.
anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to the this optical stuff. It's basically a photodiode, except this particular diode, it's probably, well, it's between about $500 to $1,000 just for the part, just for the raw electronic component. Somebody had given it to me many years ago, and I just waited a very long time before I was able to wire it up with all these microchips to give me the best possible signal. Because most of the time when people are using these things, it's not for listening to audio. I mean, you got telescopes that are 100 feet long that they use these diodes in and stuff like that. So we're talking these are laboratory grade diodes. These are not stuff you're going to find in consumer equipment. So now it's wired, it's done, and now I can get out there and start listening and monitoring for pings, flashes of light, different light sources going off, get somewhat of a signature on it. Right now it's only good for the audio spectrum, but I can start to, when I get other equipment attached to it, I can go up into the high megahertz range. Obviously, we don't hear in the megahertz range.
Yeah.
I'm getting really technical, but this is the stuff I'm getting into. And finally, it's like, if this shows results, which it should, in theory. I don't expect people to have $1,000 diode, but I've built a few of the cheaper versions for other people. They can build for $5 and even attach it to their.
Now, how would this be a different approach as to opposed to what all these other paranormal investigators are doing with these boxes?
Well,
echo
it depends.
boxes
You know
and
what? That actually depends.
boxes and Anna Maria Alberghetti boxes and God knows what. They're all out there and they're getting these.
Well, I'm not
EVP
saying we're going to
recordings,
get necessarily
or what they believe
voice.
are EVP recordings.
I'm not necessarily saying we're going to get anything vocalized.
Okay, but
Okay.
some sounds.
But you
something.
never know. I mean, what I did when I tested this device, it was pretty nice.
Well, what sounds? If they're not vocal sounds, what sounds is it that you're hoping to get?
Well, here's the fun part. When you build one of these things and start pointing it around the room, you'll start hearing things emanating from objects that you never even heard, emitting light before. Like, I mean, even when your phone's off and the screen's off, these newer phones are emitting stuff. So,
something
you'll
emits-
hear tones and buzzes and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
okay.
You can hear some true like analog waveforms depending on the device. It doesn't.
But could that be something like radio waves or something you're picking up through the air?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily
Photodiodes
something in the
are
cemetery
sensitive
itself. I don't know
to-
if that would be an
What's that?
accurate, way of saying.
Well, put it this way. I told you we started getting the flutter sound, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say in theory that some of these balls of light are intelligent. Let's say some of them might be,
Okay.
whatever, or maybe they're not. But if they're abnormal and they're giving us these weird light displays that we sometimes can't see with the naked eye, what happens when you take one of these photodiodes and you're able to eventually find a signature pattern? Like if I brought it into this room, I'll get a signature pattern off of what type of phone you might have. You can do this. What brand, depending on the buzzing.
Well, that's fine for as far
or
as
the lights in
electronics
the
are
room.
concerned.
You're not seeing it. I'm
not. No, I'm kind of
no.
missing this. I'm not getting it. I'm not exactly
You
sure.
might stumble
Yeah.
across a way to say, okay, let's say I got a dozen diodes pointing in like a circular whatever, or
Yeah.
100 of them in a dome, whatever. Let's say one day we discover like if that ball light is within your vicinity, I can see low frequency. We're talking 10 hertz, 20 hertz, 30 hertz. We can start to pick up low frequency signatures, meaning, okay, we have something abnormal going on in the east section because I'm picking up a 35 hertz signal in the optical range. We're talking now, this can detect in the ultraviolet or the infrared throughout all visible and invisible spectrums for us.
Okay.
So there's a good possibility where if I'm hearing fluttering off of something that's odd.
And, okay. What did you relate the fluttering to?
What about the pings? The pings of light I told you about. Remember the flashes of light?
Yeah.
Some of us are definitely seeing these flashes of light.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens when I can get these photodiodes in there to actually capture when these pings of light go off? What are we going to see in the waveforms? Are we going to be able to say, holy crap, when this thing goes off, it maybe lasts for X amount of milliseconds all the time, or whatever the hell it may be. You know, maybe it's in this frequency range that we'll pick it up at. It doesn't have to be vocalized. You know, I'm not saying now if we get an EVP off of it, hey, that would be interesting as well. You never know.
Maybe some of these EVP recordings that you're getting, since some of them are so inaudible, maybe that's what this stuff is. Maybe they're picking up some of these.
Well, I'm hoping to discover some more. Like the microphones we're using are dynamic mics, moving voice coil, and so what I've been building over the winter is. We got your MEMS microphones, which are in your cell phones. Those are digital MEMS.
Okay.
I've got the analog MEMS as well. Okay. Now, they're very sensitive, almost pretty much noise-free mics. I got your Electret. Yeah, I got your regular condensers. Got the ribbon mics. An entire microphone array of different types of microphones running at the exact same time next to something that has a whole lot of sensing equipment. I mean, imagine just, you got your basic variables. Let's say humidity, temperature, you know what I mean, barometric. I've got VOC, a gas sensor detecting certain types of gases in the atmosphere. I got all these sensors running. So, magnetic field, triaxis.
What exactly are you hoping to
What I'm
find?
hoping to do is...
What are you hoping to find? Are you hoping that you're going to have direct communication with
I know that I'm
from the
having... I told you I'd be keeping
or
things secret,
communication with something from another world? What exactly?
Whoever these... I don't want to say people, but I guess you could. Whoever these beings are, they are communicating.
Okay.
A lot of people think they're dead, but you better hold your horses with this for a moment, because eventually, when I do go more public, you're going to be really scratching your head. Whoever they are, they're interactive. They can definitely at least speak English.
Okay.
Okay. Some of them look human. Some look not human. Some are light beings. And they all are having this interaction out there with certain people.
So then you have photos.
I happen to be
you have
one of the
photos
people.
of some of these beings.
Well, of course.
Okay.
The irony too, and
this is all Bachelor's Grove stuff.
Well, because I primarily
Okay.
do the Bachelor's Grove thing.
So you have.
I've experienced outside the Grove, but
So you right now in your possession.
What's
of
that?
course, you haven't gone public with it, like you said.
No.
But you have
it's
photos of
semi-public.
you have photos of these beings.
No, not like that. Not like that. It's you mean like people walking around?
No.
Like that?
Whatever's a being to you, you have photos of these
Well,
beings.
I consider being something of an intelligence.
You just said some of them looked human, some of them didn't, some of them.
Right.
And you said they also can speak English. So,
well, apparently based on EVP.
okay.
Now that I become more clairaudient,
Okay, based on EVP,
which is something I've never talked about.
Based on the things you're developing.
Well, I'm developing. Sorry, I'm studying. I'm developing them based upon what I've noticed out there personally.
Maybe I missed my question.
Go back up.
My question was, you made the statement. You said you have photos of these things or images of these things. Some you said some look human, some don't, and then you said I have recordings of these, and a lot of them speak in English.
Well, so far we're getting all English. Okay. I haven't heard any German out of this Germanish cemetery or anything like that.
All right.
Okay. So that's as far as I can tell. We're getting English.
Well, what have they said?
The point I'm making is...
What have they said? Have they said anything of any great merit, or they just said Pete?
I've asked them to do certain things. Ooh, I'm about to give it away on here.
Well, you don't have to give everything away, but maybe something that would maybe add a little bit of credibility to what you're saying.
I wanted to do things more on a scientific level and show people certain things first, before they hear the extra crazy level of why I'm doing it this way, why I'm even doing it at all. Well,
if such is the case, then why even bring it up at all?
I didn't mean to bring that part up.
I mean,
it's the way you asked, I'm being honest.
I love talking about this, and I love being very candid and honest. But why?
I try to get other people doing what I'm doing. Remember, I told you I do better one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I get certain people that I feel are, well, let's just say qualified, good enough, whatever you want to call it, maybe just more open-minded enough to do what I'm doing
Have you found such a person?
On occasion, I have come across a
Okay.
few that stick with it,
All right.
and they're getting results. And
Do you think this is something that would only be for people that maybe are a little more in tune with the paranormal or the supernatural than
I would
everyone
say,
else?
based on my experience, I tell people
Maybe this is something for maybe
I
that's
tell
somebody
people put
that's
the camera
really-
down, put the recorder down for the moment, take in your atmosphere, and learn
See what you feel.
Learn about
Right.
you.
Mhm.
Learn about
Yeah.
how you are as a person, as a being in your environment that you're living in at the current moment.
Okay.
And the more you do that, the more you start picking up on people's thoughts, the more you can project your thoughts to people, the more you can do these crazy things, the more that you get in tune with yourself, the more in touch you will be and probably be more interactive with these unseen, at the moment at least, unseen forces.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it's a prerequisite. I think you need to do it.
Unseen forces, but you did
Well,
say...
I say it with a loose term, unseen.
I was going to say
forces. Most
unseen
people are
forces,
not
but
se-
you did, and that's what really got me going. You really whet my appetite with that one.
Well, you
said,
wonder-
Well, we have photos of these, and some of them look human, some
Some
of
are
them
mine,
don't.
some are others, and I see patterns, and I come up with theories on a scientific level on how can we interact with it at a scientific level. Maybe these beings are having some complicated way of communicating that can make it easier for them. But overall, you are the tool, and you can have. Like I became more clairaudient over time, over the years. I wasn't always like that,
Mm-hmm.
and so some of this evidence people are coming up with.
I think certain senses you do develop
I'm
over time.
hearing these.
Yeah.
I'm clearly, audibly out, like really, really loud, ridiculously
hearing
loud.
them just with your own
my
ear
own
without
freaking-
any...
Well, however it's working.
Okay.
However, I try to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the ear? Is it something else? What are the mechanics of how I'm able to hear something that other people either can or can't hear? The more interesting
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
ones are the ones that can hear, but you can record with a device.
Okay.
Okay, it's an interesting way to approach these physics.
So
is it
something...
only moving air molecules? Is it something else? I mean, remember the MEMS.
So, now, wait, let me just
is it
just see if I'm understanding what you just said here.
Okay.
And just to clarify it, it's something that you may or may not be able to hear with your ear without any electronic
Right. You
equipment.
let's say you walk
But
into
yet
an environment.
but yet the equipment can pick it up.
Right. Question
Hmm.
that. So you're in an environment, you hear something, and maybe the other person doesn't, so that makes you crazy because you could hear it and they can't.
No, this happens.
Well,
quite
I mean,
frequently,
generally
I've had that
speaking,
happen to me where something
average Joe's gonna
I've
say
heard
you're-
something the other person I'm with doesn't hear it.
Okay.
Sometimes they hear or see something and they're like, "Why can't you hear
And
this?" I'm
it's
like, "No, I
great if
don't,"
everybody's
you know?
open-minded about this. But let's
Yeah.
say that we get your average person on the street. The average guy's going to be like, "That guy's freaking nuts." I don't hear the voices in my head. You know what I mean, kind of, so to speak.
Well,
So,
but see,
here's the
but
great
then
part.
the thing is
the
it a
audio
voice?
recorder? If the audio recorder picks it up, let's say, oh, I heard something. Oh, I didn't. Play back your tape. Hey, there it is. I didn't hear that at the time, but one person did. That should help you narrow down some of the so-called physics.
Yeah, but doesn't this happen with so much right now with what they're working with already with videotape and things like that? They videotape it, take photos, and nothing's there. They don't see it, and then later on they go back and they look, and
supposedly
something,
nothing's
you know,
there, and they
yeah.
don't see it at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, but some people see things, some people don't. That Scott Marcus guy I mentioned, he was there with a whole bunch of people. And
Okay.
they saw this big white mist at the front gates, but he couldn't see it. Whole group but him.
Okay.
Whole group sees it, but he don't.
Okay.
I've seen the mist there. People standing in front of the gate, when I asked, had no idea what I was talking about.
Who was the group that he was with? Is he got like his?
Oh, this is a long, long
paranormal team
time
or-
ago when he was just a little young guy, doing
Okay.
this thing. It's
Okay,
just,
cool. All right.
if you ever run into him, ask him about it.
I think I know who he is. Yeah, I think I know Scott
So-
Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't know what I don't see enough people like trying these different techniques to understand the physics of some of these things.
Well, no, I think
So that's what I'm building, over time, just
Yeah.
like based on my experience. There's a million
you're
different
looking
ways.
for more sound scientific evidence.
Yes and
you're
no.
and you're looking more in a different approach.
I would like to discover a real-time way to interact at a level that I'm assuming that there's times when it's hard for them to interact. I would like to make it easier. Obviously, my curiosity is there. I would just like to to understand some of it, just at least some of it.
Then what happens to any of the evidence?
They're operating in a realm that's coexisting with our own space.
Sure, of course they are. If they're
Now,
on
I
the
want to
Earth,
understand
yeah.
how they're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, occasionally, I will give out some details.
Well, they're
and-
obviously
and-
doing it by
well-
either showing themselves, revealing themselves to you, or
Well,
communication
that's
through their
there's
voices,
the
their
messed
sounds,
up
whatever.
part. When I say put down the camera, put down the mic, This is going to be so convenient for the diehard, non-believers. Like, yeah, well, I'll give
Yeah.
you. But what I'm about to say is, let's say you put it down, and all of a sudden they start showing themselves.
Okay.
Well, first of all, F you, man. Why don't you do it with my camera on? Maybe there's something to be said for this. Okay?
Maybe they want to be photographed.
Well, it might be a little bit more than that. I think it's going to be a lot more than that. My experience with it is there's been a very severe adjustment period
But then,
for me personally.
But you know, Pete,
Almost like just conditioning, little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Give him what he's asking at a certain level. Okay, at least I'll finish this part of the conversation. This part I don't want to keep secret for a while. Maybe it'll get released this year. I'll release it now, I guess. But what I'll do, and this was discovered by accident, I will ask about certain physics questions, and suddenly some let's just say, to make this story short, things will present themselves, and I'd be like, holy shit. And I started to stumble across what this might be, what this might mean, how it's happening. And so I would get really detailed and ask specific things, and I would ask for not necessarily me to experience what I'm asking for, but let others be the ones to experience what I'm asking for. And hopefully that same information, those same events make their way back to me. And typically it does. It doesn't mean they respond to everything I ask for, but when they do respond, I learn so many different things on a physics level, and other people get involved to a level where it just freaks them out. They either enjoy it, some get scared to a little bit of a degree, but then they calm down. But it's just like you take non-believers, you turn them into believers. There's a lot of positive angles to this approach. If you take it, and I don't want to say it's selfish, but if you do take it in a selfish approach, we're like me, okay, do this for me, show me this, show me that, and or whatever the case may be. If you do this in a way where it's like you're asking stuff, but the stuff you're asking happens to other people, and you're able to be able to learn from it, that's a good cycle. That's a good circle to be in. Okay, you really start to get everybody involved. Start to get some people on that same level. Okay, you're not hearing about this on the radio. You're not hearing about this on TV and the newspapers and on the magazines. This is like a subculture here in Chicago that I'm sure it's probably happening elsewhere with other locations, with other groups. However, they're doing this, and everyone's just keeping secret. But whatever it is, essentially it seems to have picked Bachelor's Grove because the Grove became something, and it stuck with that. This is a slight theory, but they've shown other things that go in that direction based on my questions.
Okay.
So people are always asking, why the Grove? Why the Grove? Why the Grove? Well, a good start would be forget about some of the things from the past that might have been going on. Focus on what's going on today. And what's going on today seems to be because it was picked, and they're looking to interact. They're looking for the contact. That's why people are being drawn out there, and they don't know why they're being drawn out there.
Maybe the type of people that are coming there are the type of people they're looking for. They're looking for
that's
people
different kind
with
of
a
people.
very distinct interest in the paranormal,
But I'm
people
more-
that have a belief in the paranormal, and of course,
Yes,
you got the curiosity
and that's
seekers,
good.
too.
No, I get that.
The only thing I
I'm
wanted to do
fascinated by the
before I
ones
get,
that don't know
before,
about the
before I
Grove.
get too far, well, it's very hard to find
That's the
people
cool
that
ones.
don't. I mean, most
I didn't know
everybody
why I
is-
woke up.
most everybody has somewhere heard of it a little bit.
No,
you know,
no, that's the great ones. The ones that never heard of it, showed up, and they said they woke up, were compelled to come in this direction, walked on. I've been through these moments in my
Okay.
life. But to them, they say they come to the Grove. They didn't know why they were compelled to come.
But
and
the
things
thing
happen
is,
to them.
but the thing
that
I'm,
is cool.
The thing I'm concerned before we get too far away from this, because this was about a few minutes back when you were mentioning this, was like, well, okay, we may not, we don't have the photos of these things, we don't have the recordings
Well,
of
we
these
got-
things,
we got some,
but we've
yeah.
seen it, we've
We've
seen
got
it,
some.
and this kind of thing. But if it's something that you can only really see without any equipment and everything,
You can you can pick up on some of it with the equipment, and you can pick up on some of it with your own
then
eyes.
really that only becomes subjective evidence.
Some things that
So
I
it's not
picked up on
tangible
camera,
evidence, you know,
I'm
it's
now
nothing-
able to see with my eye. This, I don't know what caused this. I don't know. I don't want to call it, like,
extrasensory eyes or something.
well, I don't want to say evolve. Like, it's just kind of like over time, I became more
you might
sensitive.
just be. I'm
and
just going to
able
say you might
see
just
this
be a
stuff.
person that's much, much, much more in tune with this than
Well,
someone
I've always been in
else is.
tune with weird
You know?
crap anyway, but
Yeah.
it's become more and more extreme, more heavy over time. And I'm okay with it. I think back then I probably wouldn't have been entirely okay with the clairaudient thing. I probably would have been a little
Okay,
disturbed
and
by
then
it.
now if you
Now it's not a big deal.
now you're coming up with all this new equipment, new theories, new
Right,
this, new
right,
that,
right.
et cetera,
I'm
et cetera,
trying-
all
I'm-
this stuff.
yeah.
Now, what happens to everything they've already gotten? Is all that just
No,
garbage?
No, well, the stuff that's been recorded,
Yeah.
that's valuable information.
Okay.
Especially long after I die. Hopefully, it goes out into wherever, and people collect it and save it.
Okay.
No, it's not junk.
All right. That's what I'm just curious about. Because people say, "Oh, I have this photo of this. I got this at that."
Well,
tree
you know,
top.
you
I
got the
that.
people that
I
say,
get
I
this
see,
sound."
I see Jesus in the muffin or the face in the trees. Like, I'm not really interested so much in that.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm like,
but see, this is what people, the average person,
yeah, I know.
to believe it, they got to see it.
But see, they don't want to. If they don't naturally have certain abilities, it's hard for them to get into this, so to speak. You know, somebody
But
says,
you
"Well, I
know-
saw a show. That's why I got into it." Not, "Hey, I had this really weird experience. That's why I'm into it."
But some people,
So
with
they're gonna use
no
cameras.
experience or belief in the paranormal, nothing at all, see things.
Sure.
And experience stuff,
Right.
and then that kind of sparks.
Those are the
interest.
best
It says,
ones.
Yes, I've had something because that's what happened to me. I had things happen to me, that I couldn't explain. And I said, "Well, there's got to be."
And
more to
hopefully,
this.
when it happens to those
Yeah,
people, they're
yeah.
more scientifically oriented, so they can approach this differently. Hopefully,
Yeah.
because it's more fun. You might learn something. You know, it'd be nice to know how some of these things function. So maybe we will.
So now then, your theories work, and we have this proof. We have.
Well,
these-
no, I don't know.
No,
if
I'm just
the
saying.
theories
I'm just
work
saying.
yet,
Theoretically,
you know?
I'm just saying this.
I know that we're getting results. Everyone's like, "Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof?"
Yes,
well, how do you
that's the thing
how do you
everybody's-
define proof? Number one,
Yeah. Well, proof would
we
be.
could talk for a long time on
proof,
that.
Well, proof is tangible evidence.
So
something you can
so
put your
I
finger on
approach
and you can
this
say,
with.
yes.
I'm
this
more
is-
practical.
Yeah.
If I show up with a camera, like on my very first visit, and I see something the size of, I don't know, let's say a foot-long brick.
Okay.
If I see a black-looking thing bouncing back and forth, up, around, and then around the headstone of the Fulton Monument, levitating around it, my eye can't see it, but the camera does.
Right. This is you.
Okay, that's gonna set off alarm bells. That's gonna say, okay, something's not right. I want to
Sure,
understand
sure.
how that worked.
Uh huh.
I want to understand about the sensor of the camera, how I was able to detect black, why was it black, why couldn't I see it, blah, 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 blah. Go down all these lists of whatever. And then eventually, in real life, I didn't need the camera. And that was...
See, to
so
me,
it-
with so many of the not even Bachelor's Grove photos, so many of the ghost photos in recordings, for that matter, that are out there that people have.
Yeah.
It seems to me like the person says, like, well, okay, I took this picture, and when I took it, there was nothing there. Later on, we developed it. This came in it.
Sure.
Or sometimes people see it, and they say, yes, I was there, and I saw it, because I've had that happen to me. I've seen something,
I've been
and I
through
don't have
those
a picture of
moments,
it. Because I don't have a picture of it, because I wasn't expecting to see
I've had
anything.
a camera in my hand during some moments, but you're just always in the moment. You don't think about taking the picture.
or I wasn't expecting to see anything, and something showed up,
So-
and I didn't have any equipment or anything ready to take a picture with. So
Yeah. Well, part of the system obviously has some cameras, right, that I'm building. And, part of it, too, is that I'm interested in some of these. Obviously, some of these intelligent beings, I call them intelligent beings, but we
course.
can start with the basics. They're
Sure.
just light sources, right? That somehow and occasionally take
what do you
shape
think they
of
are?
bodies.
Are they from
oh,
the
oh,
beyond, or
well-
are they
Well,
extraterrestrials?
here's the thing.
What do you think they are?
Some of the ones that interact with me that are not, let's say, outside the cemetery, so to speak, outside that area, that would hang out. So wherever I would go, I could be in a different state, whatever occasion I would be, let's just say, visited. Okay.
Sure.
They're more light beings. Okay, put it that way.
So then these are more extraterrestrial than
No,
something.
well, no,
say,
I would call that extraterrestrial necessarily.
a light being. What would you call a light being?
I mean,
then?
they're like calling us extraterrestrials. After we so-called die, we move on to different realms. But hey, it's a belief system, right? Anyway, so how do you define proof here, right? My
that's
point is,
that's what I'm trying to figure out. How
So-
would you figure out what is
Well,
what is a
occasionally
ghost?
you-
To use it in common terms, and
on
what would be
occasion-
something, a higher intelligence, a higher being? What would that
based on my interactions, the light beings are more inclined to facilitate interaction, meaning on occasion
They want to interact.
they will let you know when to actually let me know when to actually show up at certain locations, especially the Grove now.
Okay.
But certain locations to have an experience.
So now
they-
you're
they-
getting
they- well,
you're getting phone calls, and they're saying, Pete, show
yeah,
up
I
at
wish
1
it was a
o'clock in
phone
the
call,
afternoon,
right?
And well, how
No,
how does that work, Pete?
No, well, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
This is probably really, really poor example. It's sometimes on a very lucid, normal. Once you learn that some of your thoughts are not your own thoughts and they have a distinct quality to them, it's not a big deal. But like in the beginning, you'll have more of a drone operation, so to speak. You're on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give it kind of a boring story, but it's hopefully you can. It's a good analogy.
Excuse me, I'm not yawning because I'm
on
bored.
communication. So how much is this subconscious, and how much is this actually interacting with something that's intelligent? We'll see.
That's what I want to know.
I'm going to give you an example.
Is it just a hunch?
So one day I'm in my
I
sleep.
show up, or
I have a lot of things happen in my sleep as well.
Mhm.
So I'm having this weird dream, and in the dream is me and my cousin in this car, and I'm the passenger. She's the driver, and the window on my side is cracked about an inch open. And off, remember, this is a dream. Off to the side is this tornado, and the tornado's forming, and it comes closer to the car, and like almost like shrinks, goes through the crack of the window, lands in my lap, my groin area, and the tornado sucks into my lap. Right. I wake up instantly, and I am in extreme pain. I mean, like somebody nailed my nuts hard. I couldn't get out of bed, and then when I tried, I fell to the floor. I'm like, wow, that was one hell of a dream. Now, to make a very long story short, I just felt like, something's wrong. I need to drive in the direction of where this was in the dream, but I didn't know why.
How did you know where it was?
I just knew. It's called the knowing, man. You just. It's a different kind of thought process.
Where to go.
I just knew you need to go that direction. I'm like, well, that's the direction of the dream, and it was kind of like, yes, it is. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm thinking, yes, it is. Like it's your thought, but not your own thought kind of thing.
Okay.
There's a different kind of quality. And so I'm getting ready to, I'm trying to collect myself. I'm like, man, my nuts hurt. I'm just trying to even stand up, and just move around. And I get in the other room, and I'm like, well, maybe I should just leave. And they're like, don't leave yet. Now it was pretty clear. What do you mean, don't leave yet? Stall. What do you mean, stall? How am I going to stall? What do you want me to do? This is all in my head, right? I go, maybe I should just go brush my teeth since I woke up. Yeah, that's a good idea. Almost like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, okay. So I go and brush my teeth, and it was like, okay, you need to leave, and you need to leave now. Like, really urgently, you need to leave now. So I got in the car, I started driving, and I drove a couple miles down this road. I'm like, where am I going? And it's almost like I'm not getting an answer yet, except just kind of keep going. Just that feeling, just keep going. Okay. So I'm just driving almost on autopilot. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why? And I look off, and like, okay, you need to turn here, turn left. And I go and I look left, and it's a hospital. I'm like, what? I pull in, and I get into the parking lot, right at the curb, or the parking lot is, as I'm pulling in. I mean, it's like in perfect sync. This other car pulls up to me. Both got our windows open. It was a warm day, summer. And it's somebody I know. And they look at me, they go, Pete, what are you doing here? And I look at them. I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. What are you doing here? Oh, well, your aunt just had same-day surgery. We're going back to the house. You should come see how she's doing. Okay. So I show up at the house, and there's my cousin in the dream. That's her mother who was in the hospital.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, how you doing, I'm like,
Did you ever meet this cousin before? You knew?
Oh, I know, yeah, of course I met this
cousin.
cousin.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize, and I'm like, so I don't know why I'm really here, but I got a story to tell you. And as soon as I told her, she yelled, Mom! The person who had the surgery, my aunt. You need to get in here, listen to what Peter says. I can't move, damn it. Come in here and tell me whatever the hell he's saying. So, because what happened is my description is, I said, the big thing that really set off the alarm bells for her was the tornado effect. Felt like a tornado. And so I said the story, and then my aunt who had the surgery just had this look on her face. And then my cousin's just like, you hear what he just said? Isn't that weird? I'm like, what did I just say?
She had the same experience?
The anesthesia wore off during surgery, but she couldn't move, but she physically felt all the cutting in her uterus.
Oh, Jesus.
She described it as a tornado in her uterus.
Oh, yeah.
But here, so here's the example here. It's the it isn't so much.
So were you feeling?
I felt her pain during the surgery.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Either during or right after, who knows? But it still hurt. The point is, you pick up on this information. It's all valid. Some of it's slightly interpretive, right? I'm in a dream, in a dream state, seeing a physical tornado, but it's,
right.
But it's the communication aspect.
Hmm.
Okay, leave, don't leave, stall. Okay, I learned over time that was a lot more than just subconscious picking up stuff.
How well do you interpret dreams, Pete?
Oh, I don't. If it's something, let's say I wake up and I remember something, that's a very symbolic dream.
I mean, like someone else. If someone else was
Well,
to tell you a dream, would you be able to tell them?
I'm not usually too good with other people. I mean, on occasion, I make some eyes, like kind of blur
The reason
out.
I'm asking is because I had a real doozy of a dream a few weeks back. A couple of weeks back, I had a real.
I
good
would
one.
probably need a lot more. So, a lot of it's subconscious. I mean, maybe I'll blurt something out, and then maybe later on you'll figure out that's exactly what that was.
My dream that I had, in my dream, told me I wouldn't live to the end of this year.
And you might not.
Oh, yeah,
I
who
can't.
knows?
Well,
You know,
I'm
exactly.
getting the strong feeling like this year's my last year,
Yeah, it's the weirdest. I never had that.
and I've
before.
been
It's the
actually
weirdest
throwing
thing.
things out based on those thought patterns.
Hmm.
Preparing to die, and I'm like, something ain't right. Is this me or is this somebody else?
Yeah, it woke me up and scared the bejeebs.
Or
out of me.
maybe
I'm
you're
like,
picking
wow,
it
what
up
the heck
from
was
me.
that? Yeah, possible. Yeah.
I mean,
So
just,
well,
I mean,
who's
last
gonna go,
year-
Pete? Am I going to your
I
funeral or
haven't-
are you going to mine? You know, what's
yeah, right. So, well, we'll come back to that in a year from now. We'll see
And
what
see who's
happens.
here. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like the death.
No, it
thing
was
is
a weird.
very
I never
common
had
for
that
me.
before. It was the weirdest thing. I dreamt like I would not live to the end of the year, which is the strangest thing. Ay, ay, ay.
I mean, you could just be picking it up from me.
Somebody
Maybe
picking up
I
on
don't
somebody
know.
else. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. You only had the one dream, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's been very much stronger for me. So hopefully I'm around so I can discover.
I hope you're
experience
around
few
for a
more
while because I'm
things.
going to find out if some of these other things of yours are,
I
going.
mean-
Don't go anywhere until you come up with the,
Well, I'll try
the
to
evidence from all these things you're
I have
developing.
confidence that when my real time comes, I'll probably know. And
I
So-
that's something I'm not really afraid of.
no, you shouldn't.
No, I'm not really
No.
afraid of that. No, I'm not. The dream was scary, yes, but as far as like to die or something, that's something I really don't fear.
We don't really die, so
No, I think we
whatever.
kind of hang around. Yeah, yeah,
Well, maybe.
yeah. Anyway, I'd kind of like to see,
No, can we hang around? Yeah. I mean, I've had direct experience with that with people around me, and that
sure.
was just.
I think we've all had that.
Badass.
In some form or another.
Well, I'm talking exploding lights, slamming doors.
Those are all
absolute
experiences
awesome.
of the paranormal.
There was
Just about anybody that's had any sort of
No,
paranormal
even-
will tell you the same.
even a
I've had
version
trouble.
of,
lights have gone on, lights have gone off. Doors have slammed, doors have not slammed. Doorbells have rung, doorbells haven't rung. There's been knocks on windows. There's been knocks on doors. There's been voices we can't. There's been smells of cigarette smoke. There's been smells of cologne. All these things are normal paranormal experiences.
probably
Yeah.
yeah. For I don't know how many people, but to me it's normal. Like at the Grove, somebody got pushed out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Chris Fleming, I don't know if you know Chris Fleming. So he did a recent visit out there.
Somebody got pushed.
Well, no, technically I wouldn't call it a push. I had to ask her specifically, really, what happened? Were you pushed? Did you run into something? Because we have been experiencing some things out there. And to her, it freaked her out. She was screaming and crying, and eventually I had to say, no, it's okay. But it was happening to a few people to where they were being physically touched in a different kind of way than it's not like you're being grabbed and thrown, okay? She felt like she hit a brick wall basically and bounced back. Now, I say from a physics point of view, what is that? I don't say it's an intelligent being there in front of you or not. I'm still like whatever with it.
But a lot of this, people,
But-
you're in an area.
I got to go through it.
You're in an area like this where there's known activity. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no.
that's why you're
But
there.
why are we having this?
why if you go to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery because of this.
Sure.
You don't go to the Little Red Schoolhouse Nature Trail for you go
Well,
to Bachelor's Grove because
apparently-
this has been known to happen there. So do you think that maybe sometimes people are there and sometimes people get so worked up over this that yes, they start feeling things. They start feeling they're being touched. They start seeing things.
It's
that
hard
aren't
to
there. They
say
start
which
hearing things that
part
aren't there.
is over-
I mean, your mind can really.
Well, she didn't
you
know about stories of hitting something out of thin air and bouncing back.
No, that can happen anywhere though. It doesn't
And the
have
funny,
to be,
no, it just so happened to be happening around when other people, the time period when other people were having happen, and it happened to me.
Okay.
Now these are things I just don't mention because
right.
it's just another day in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, and I might as well just keep my mouth shut and just watch the show, unfold, and try to learn something from it, and be like, that's pretty cool anyway.
But do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying, you're in an area where this kind of stuff has been known to go on. Don't you think that maybe sometimes this creeps people out a little bit?
Oh, it does. It does.
And they feel things that
I'll present full scenarios that I haven't made public, like on a radio show or YouTube. I'll make and I'll present them the so-called evidence out there, and some of them actually get. It isn't skepticism. They're like, how do you deal with this? How are you not scared out of your mind? You don't know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And that's one of my things where I'm trying to.
Welcome to the world of
I'm trying to
paranormal.
teach that.
Yeah.
Ignore the people that say it's Satan, and just
yeah.
oh my God,
yeah,
there's so many people.
Yeah. Now
about
that yeah.
there's so many people out there saying, oh, it's bad, it's negative, it's bad mojo, it's this, that, always negative, negative, negative. It's like, folks.
The most negativity.
Maybe you're attracted to
the most
negative. I don't know,
negativity that you
but-
experience at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery is not from any spirits or entities that may or may not be residing there. It's from people themselves that are bringing
Yeah,
this
you
stuff.
probably-
there.
yeah.
They're bringing this negativity there.
Just because you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't mean for me. Obviously, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily in tune with their
But
surroundings
if that's
and
a
are
place,
a good judge
if that's
of
a place
character.
you're
with it.
going, if that's a place that you're going to, and you don't feel comfortable going there, you feel uncomfortable about it.
Well,
why
why
would
do
you
you
go
feel?
there?
Why do you feel uncomfortable about it?
I
you
don't
need,
know.
you need to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would you?
Are you like that anywhere
know,
else? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Is it because you heard stories before? If you don't know anything about the place, you feel
Yeah.
that way. You know,
You'd be- I think
I
t-
would
I
like to
think-
study some of those people, but after a while, I get annoyed and it wastes my time. Like, well,
Everything falls apart like after two or three things. You investigate something, and after two or three investigations into it, it kind of falls apart and it comes to nothing. Once you start in 4 or 5 or 6, yeah, you might have something really here. But after 2 or 3,
well, people are feeling
things,
a certain way in a specific
you know,
spot, whether it's negative or positive. I'm
Yeah.
always interested.
Yeah.
Number one, it's like specific spots.
a
if you-
certain place, a
and
certain
that's
spot,
great.
a certain,
Like, I mean,
mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
it looks like there might be a pattern. You pay
Yes,
attention to that.
you try to make.
But the person that goes in just crying, well, how do
That's
I?
what I'm saying. They get a little. That would be no different than someone going to see, Elvis Presley or something, and just getting so overwrought with emotion that
Right.
they cry and they
Right.
pass out. Or
Now-
a religious experience, they're
Chris
having and they
Fleming.
pass out.
That guy
Same
Chris
type of
Fleming
thing.
I brought
Somebody
up.
just gets them so worked up about being at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Oh my gosh, I'm here. This is like the most haunted spot in the world. All this goes on and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
Al
And then,
Capone
boom, boom.
bodies.
Yeah,
come on,
all
it didn't
this stuff.
happen.
Yeah, I know.
You fill
yeah.
your head full of the crap that
Yeah,
hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And-
And there's a lot of urban legends out there of things that we know not to be true. That being one of them. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, you try to go in with a clean slate. People ask me like
Yeah.
all these stories, and I tell them, I go, I would prefer not to tell you anything, so that you can just
well-
visit, go through whatever you might go through, and then
You'd be
hear about
pretty
your
hard
experience
pressed
later.
Today, things being what they are, because so much has been written and filmed and said, and you'll find magazines out there now on the stands, America's Most Haunted Places and that. So
Well, not
it'd be-
everybody keeps up on it.
It'd be very difficult to find
And,
people that
um,
don't know at least something.
Oh no!
about
They,
Bachelor's Grove.
well, some of them know
something.
something. There are
Yeah.
like I said, there are the ones that know nothing about the place.
Even
that
just
show
in
up. That's great.
conversation, if you mention Bachelor's Grove, they go, "Oh, Bachelor's Grove."
A lot of
do know
people
something about it.
typically they get it wrong. A lot
Yeah.
the history or even the legends they get wrong. There's a lot of crap mixed in. Now it pulls them in.
yeah.
That's fine, I guess, to some degree. I'm more interested in the people that are showing up because they're compelled to show up. Those seem to be the people that are more inclined to go through something, and they'll have descriptions or events, whatever. Just say descriptions in general. Little details that nobody's writing about. Obviously, nobody's really talking about for the most part, at least on a very public level. But stuff that I've gone through, and they're going through. So it's a very interesting pattern. I like those. Where were we here? I'm all over my head. By
That's
the way.
all right. Keep going.
See, you're doing your little sketch. Is
Yeah, I'm
that
just
the
doodling
Phantom
here.
Farmhouse?
Yeah, I'm just doodling
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I'm just doodling little things. And sometimes this is what I do when
Yeah,
I'm concentrating.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to discover something out there on a more sciencey level. Like EVP, I really want to know, like little things. Is there an electric effect? Is it a photoelectric effect on some of these microphones? You think, well, a microphone, it's air molecules. What does it do with light sources?
Yeah.
You got situations where people are taking lasers, modulating them, adding information to the laser in an analog way, just like I would do when I was testing out my photodiode. I was blasting music across the room using infrared light, okay? But you have like this laser effect. It was hitting a MEMS microphone, the same type of mic that's in your current cell phone, and yet it was translating that into voice. And so where's the science here? What are we missing anything? Should we be paying attention to something? What's going on? If these beings of light, if they are in some way, shape, or form producing these audible effects, maybe it's something else producing some of these audible effects. How are they doing it? On what physics level? And not just some random, it's quantum physics. Like, no. Give me a little something. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's in our environment. It's producing something. It's being captured by some of our equipment, not just normal ears. How is it working? How is it working? Something. Give me something, and hopefully some of this equipment will give me something. So those microphones are literally like a quarter-inch away from all these other sensors I got.
Okay,
and
people have been going out to Bachelor's Grove for a number of years.
Yeah.
Myself, the first time I was out there was 1971. So for a number of years, people have been visiting the Grove. People have been taking pictures of the Grove. People have been recording things at the Grove, et cetera,
Right.
so on and so on.
How much of it is it legit?
What I was just
or
going to
what?
ask you, what have you personally seen yourself of all the photos that are out there and everything? Did you say, yeah, this one I kind of believe is the real
Well,
thing?
I've seen Phantom cars before I even heard about the Phantom cars.
Any
So that's
going to
make you a believer, right?
Any photos of the Phantom cars?
No, of course I don't.
That's the thing.
No,
See, that's it.
but see
you
that what's defining proof? That's proof for Bob.
Yeah.
Well, screw Bob.
I believe.
I don't care what
I
Bob
believe what you're
wants.
saying, but
I'm gonna go make headway with this.
Mm-hmm.
You want a photograph? Well, sorry if I don't have one for you.
no. What
but
have you? What
you're
have
not
you
the
seen? Have you
scientist,
seen-
and you're not
have
going to be helping
Have you
me.
yourself?
So just
have
get
you yourself
lost.
in all these years and everything, and all this time and everything? Even you, of all the time you've been investigating the Grove and,
Sure.
and everything, is there anything you've seen that you're really? Now I'm talking about photograph. Is there any one photo
Photograph.
in particular that you've seen and you said, "Wow, this is the real thing. This is something that I've seen there before, or whatever. This is something."
Yeah, the mist at the gate. Lydia
really believe
Montoya captured a photograph at the gate of the actual mist.
Okay.
Now, at the time I saw the mist, I had a camera in my hand. Of course, I didn't capture it. My mist covered the entire gate. Was doing all sorts of interesting
Cool,
things.
okay.
Okay. What I could say from that is we got the same color quality,
Okay.
same weird thickness, so to speak. You'd have to, you know what I mean? There's some quality
Different
aspects.
times or the same time? Both.
She
just
got
different
hers at
pictures?
night. I saw mine in full daylight with a bunch of
Okay.
people around.
All right. Cool.
Scott Marcus.
Night it would be a little harder to see a mist
Well,
at night,
she
wouldn't
she
it?
heard the gate rattling. See, here's the physics.
Okay.
Why was the gate rattling? Now that's back when we actually had gates on.
Yeah, I
them.
was going to say the gates haven't been there for some time. Yeah.
And they're all dilapidated. The chain link was
Yeah.
kind of hanging off, so she was hearing that rattle from the gate
Okay.
for that chain link that was all busted up. She turned around, took a photo, and lo and behold, there's this mist wrapping the gate near where the rattle would be. That should tell us a little something about the
Did
physics.
she take the photo in infrared or
No, just regular 35
And at night
millimeter,
it came out
35
good.
millimeter.
It came out of 35 millimeter.
Good
camera.
enough?
At
Yeah,
night
oh,
it
yeah.
Came out good enough. You could
Oh,
see
yeah.
that mist. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good one. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right, you've seen the mist. Anything else?
What I mean, yeah. There's plenty of weird crap.
No. I mean, that's things
But
I've seen too.
so you're comparing it now with physical evidence as far
Exactly.
as
Well-
photos, video,
Right.
audio.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Isn't that what?
I mean-
isn't that what you need? Is physical
Okay.
evidence?
Okay. Fine.
You know.
But we'll go back to the one where my first visit
Mm-hmm.
videotaped this black thing moved around. Now I can actually see that stuff with my naked eye.
Okay.
That for me constitutes a
Do
little
you still
something
have
going
the
on there.
videotape of the black thing moving around?
Of course I do. Of course
Oh,
I do. Of
okay.
course it's out there. And
Yeah.
of course some people can understand the concept if they take it at face
One
value.
day, maybe post that up on video on
There-
YouTube or something.
no, it
So-
is.
Oh, it is up there.
It is.
Really? Where do I go? Which one do I go? 'Cause
Just
you got a lot of
go to
YouTube things.
bachelorsgrove.com.
Yeah.
Look at the personal story section.
Mhm.
You're going to find my name.
Yeah. Oh, I know that.
Okay,
I've
it's,
seen
it's
all
right
that.
there. It's right there.
Yeah.
Just
That's where the video is.
yeah. It's
Oh,
there.
okay.
It's there. Now we're talking about 1990s
Okay.
technology,
All
so
right, so-
resolution isn't the greatest. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But from a sciencey level, there's a lot going
Okay.
on here, for me. So,
But
yeah,
any of the claims, the famous claims that people
famous claims?
People claim to see the house.
I'm not-
people claim to see the farmer and the plow. People
Well,
claim to
yeah,
see
no farmer and
the
plow.
lady in
We,
the
well, we
white,
know
the-
that story's BS.
The yellow suit man.
So,
The
whatever. I
the-
mean,
the farmer and the
well,
plow
the
is
yellow
BS?
suit. I don't know. Maybe we are seeing some of the yellow suit man, so to speak.
The farmer
I mean,
and the plow is BS. That's
yeah,
not
yeah,
true
oh yeah,
story?
no, it's
Really?
bullshit. Oh, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
What's your version of the story?
Well, first of all, the story is supposed to be in the 1800s when it drowned. Let's just say, they didn't even start the quarry until about 1909.
Okay.
So how'd the horse and them drown if the pond didn't exist yet?
Do we know it's in the 1890? Maybe they just said
According
it. Could
to
have been-
no,
could have been
Dale gives years in the 1800s. So that alone, he started the story. He says he read the documentation. I asked him in his own personal files at his home many times. He does not have it. I asked him, why do you keep reprinting it? He goes, well, I'm pretty sure the story's true.
Well,
Pretty sure the story is true is not good enough for me.
This much I can tell you. This much I can tell you about that.
But we don't need his story. If it happened elsewhere, it happened elsewhere. Maybe he did read it. It didn't happen at Bachelor's Grove because the pond did not exist when the drowning supposedly occurred.
I can tell you this. I talked to a gentleman. Supposedly, the first time I heard of this story, of the farmer and the plow story, It was two forest rangers who claimed they seen this.
We're talking about, no, he's tying a story in with the sighting of a horse. Now, the sighting of a horse, plow, whatever, that is completely different. It has nothing to do with drownings. Remember this.
Well, see, now that's something
That's like me-
something that could be added to it. It may not be
The
a drowning. It
drowning
might just be a
needs to be-
sighting.
the-
It might just be a sighting of a horse and a man
That's
and
fine.
a plow. Fine,
That's
not a
fine.
drowning. But then maybe somebody added that to it. That yes, they were dragged into the pond and drowned.
Whatever.
you know.
Whatever came first, chicken or egg thing, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. I can I
exactly.
can tell you which one came first.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point is, the drowning aspect needs to be eliminated from the story. People stop repeating the drowning. Even if that happened in the vicinity of Bachelor's Grove, it did not happen at Bachelor's Grove because the pond did not exist yet.
This much I can tell you. This is what I can tell you about that story. This is what I can tell you about that story. Supposed 1969, two rangers driving down
Yeah, I
the
know.
road seen the apparition of the horse and the man and the plow.
And why not?
But they seen it coming across the road and going into the cemetery.
Mhm.
Now they didn't say anything about it going into the pond or drowning. Or
Right,
anything.
Dale,
They
and
didn't say
I-
anything. They didn't say they saw this thing coming out of
No.
the pond. That's what they said. They
Those
saw,
details
and
get-
they had
get-
no explanation
get
for
messed
it.
up.
Now I did talk to one of the gentlemen. This is some time ago. I
Mhm.
did talk to one of the men who claimed to be one of the rangers. And he said, yes, we did. He says, at the time we saw it,
Mhm.
we were not really allowed to say anything about it. We were not allowed to. We were kind of sworn to secrecy on it. They told us, don't say
Now,
anything
I
about
assume
that.
it's true
I talked to the
as far
gentleman
as-
about that. Now, the other gentleman, I'm sure by now, is gone. Maybe maybe the one I spoke to. But supposedly this man was one of the rangers, and for the life of me, I do not know his name, and I wish I did. But anyway, he said, yes, this was something we seen. I cannot explain it to you, but that we both saw, and we saw this thing go across the road, and that was it. You
It'd
know.
be nice to have it happen again. I mean, there was a barn there on that road
Yeah.
where exactly where the sightings were taking
Now-
place.
Now,
so is it
another
a time
gentleman-
aspect?
Now, another
Maybe.
gentleman
I
fairly
don't know.
recently, not all that long ago, someone that I know, sent me some photos.
Mhm.
And he says, my uncle took a great photo at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. It's a photo of a horse in a carriage.
Yeah, well, show
We
it.
took the photo.
I've never seen an authentic
I got
photo
a pack
showing.
of photos. He sent me a package of photos.
Okay.
And I says, oh, they're all nice photos and that. And I was looking at them and looking at them and looking at them. And I said, where's the one with the horse and the carriage in it?
Mhm.
And he said, oh, I gave it to you. It's in there.
Yeah, so you
I
got
says,
you got to look for
"Really?"
the face in the trees. thing.
Yeah, I really can't see
So-
it. I really, honestly, I can't see
No,
it. I
wasting
really
your
can't,
time.
You know,
That's fine.
honestly, yeah. You know, I don't know if it's a waste of my time.
Wow.
It's research. You
It's
know,
a waste of time
sometimes
for me.
research comes to nothing. Sometimes research you get results. You know, sometimes
Sure.
you don't. you
Yeah,
know.
I know.
Even Edison didn't.
But
get right
sometimes
the first time,
you just get too wrapped up in that. It's
Yeah.
just it's not good for you. You know, it's like stop looking for things that are probably not there.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a little bit more here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
I need more.
But see, I think what I'm getting at is I think all these stories start somewhere. They all start
Well,
somewhere. Someone
yeah.
sees a horse, someone sees a man, someone sees a house, someone sees a whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
I haven't seen the house.
But then what happens is
or a
over
house.
time, over years, some of these things have been going on 50, 60, 70 years, right? Over time, it gets added onto, and the story gets really well developed. Now we're not just seeing a horse. We're seeing a horse and a man, and we're seeing a plow, and we're seeing them dragged into the pond, and we're seeing them drown, and we're seeing gangster bodies being dumped in the pond, and all these,
Yeah.
these things all get added to over time. Somewhere there's some basis for it, some truth. Someone saw something, someone's experienced something.
Saw something.
And then over time, it gets built on and built on and built on
Right.
and built on. Just like just about any stories.
If
of the
Dale
paranormal.
read something and he put it in his books that there was a drowning and based upon sightings, if that's how it really went down, I mean, there's a timeline for this stuff, but if that's how it really went down, I mean, it's wrong because the pond didn't
Well,
exist.
I think that may have been reported.
Not everything, by the way, folks, not everything has to be death. Why does everything have to be death related? Okay, Richie, our resident nut job of a guy who cleans the garbage cans and likes to damage the infant daughter stone. You know this guy?
I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's appearing and disappearing to people. He's done it to me. Okay? Our hardcore skeptic who doesn't believe in anything paranormal is appearing and disappearing. Is he dead? Is he dead?
Well, is it?
No, he's
is it-
not dead.
Is it a case of time travel?
Well, I just look at it from the time aspect from now.
It's a case of
My
time
point
travel.
is, like, why do we always approach this from the death part?
well,
Okay, and
chances
if
are,
you don't have experience with precognition and knowing what's going to happen a year from now,
see, chances are though,
then you're
Pete,
probably not going to grasp the concept of the time thing anyway.
anyone that sees an apparition, for instance,
Yeah.
sees some apparition. If you're seeing an apparition of a woman and the woman is dressed in clothes from the 1930s,
What makes you think she's dead?
Well, let's just say this. You're seeing an apparition of a woman, and the woman is dressed in clothing of the 1930s or of the 1920s, or something. They don't dress this way anymore. Hairstyles aren't this way anymore.
Okay.
People don't look this way anymore.
A dating period, right?
Chances are this person may not just be some reenactor that you bumped into. Chances are this might be somebody from beyond that has already passed on.
Why do they necessarily have to be from beyond? Why is that the
don't.
first assumption?
They don't have to. But your first
Why
assumption,
can't you be seeing an actual timeline?
You could. But my feeling is if you're seeing something that looks out of the norm for your time frame, I would think it is something out of the norm.
Well, it's definitely out of the norm.
You're
right.
seeing a man with a horse and a plow. Well, how many people these days, unless they're reenacting
Well, if they
on some
see it
reconstructed
today,
farm or something, how many people, or maybe,
Right.
well, Amish aren't even using those, but how many people are seeing something like that, and how many people are seeing it in that area over there?
Right, there are certain areas that are more prone to the
You're seeing
appearing and
you're seeing an
disappearing
image
effect.
of an old-fashioned looking farmhouse, a building that's not really there. And people have reported this to me. I've collected stories on this one. Resurrection Mary stories, and that's always what strikes people about.
Now, Resurrection Mary seems to be a little bit different in its legendary ways.
Yeah, but nonetheless, but see, these, like I'm saying, these legends all start somewhere, and they get kind of carried on. But that's the thing that strikes people about that is when people see her or claim to see Resurrection Mary, is they say her appearance is something out of the norm. Someone dressed in that style of clothing, someone with that type of hairstyle, somebody that looks that way from another era, and at that time that they're seeing it, maybe at 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever the time may be. Why are you seeing somebody that looks like that, that's dressed like that you can see, and they're out there at that time? And that,
it's going to take somebody smart to figure it out, right?
That's something out of the norm. Yeah, and that's
So,
what paranormal
take
things
somebody
are.
diehard,
I saw a bride image one time, an image of a bride. Long veil all the way down to the ground, veil kind of fluttering in the breeze type thing like that. Saw that standing by gates of a cemetery, in front of a cemetery at 7:30 in the morning. Why did I see it? Did I ever see it again?
Well,
No.
if it was at Resurrection
No, it wasn't
Cemetery, I'd be
Resurrection.
careful.
No, what it was
Because I found a dude in drag
Oh yeah, just some
walking
kind
down, Archer. And like,
Yeah,
I turned around and
that's
saw
all.
that male face. I'm like, you SOB.
I know there's all kind of crazy stuff.
I
There's
know
all
what
kind of
you're
crazy
doing.
videos out there in there too. But this was some time ago, and I wasn't even looking for anything in the paranormal, and it wasn't even at Resurrection Cemetery, And there was the thing, and it's so startled me to see this, and I flipped my car back around to try to get a second look, and of course by that time it's gone. You've gotten that glimpse of it. You definitely know what you've seen something there, and then it's gone.
Now this is all fun and good. All these stories we could talk for hours
Oh
and
yeah,
hours, right?
yeah.
But I think for me, what's the best part is that, for me personally, I've been shown that we don't really die. There are so many other different realms, so many other forms of life. Some of it apparently we get to share and be, and it's like, wow, like what's going on? And I wonder if I'll ever meet them face to face one day and have a real face to face conversation, so to speak.
Yes, see, I've always felt that too. I says, I think that's what's going to happen, and I hope kind of that's what happens is, okay, when we leave this world, we pass on and we go into the next.
We'll go
we
somewhere.
Die,
Yeah.
All of a sudden, all the stuff is clear to us. You say, oh my gosh, that's what all that meant. That's what that was all about. Now I know. Now it's kind of clear to me. Hopefully we have.
I'm
that
sure there will be
information,
something to that extent. I don't think it'll be that extreme.
I
But
don't
me
know.
personally,
I don't know.
I don't-
You can't know until you get there, and then when you get there, you're going to come back. And
There's
be able
this
to tell
other
people,
quality to what's going on, and it makes me wonder about the nature of
Anyway,
this
these are the
reality we're
things
in.
that have always interested me in the paranormal, interested me in that, and I'm always open to everyone's stories. I listen to everyone's stories. I take it. Some stories are a little far fetched, and I take them with a grain of
Oh
salt.
my god!
Other
I
stories are a
haven't
little
even I haven't
more-
even told you the super far fetched stuff yet.
Yeah,
Like, it's like
we've all gotten those. I've collected so many stories over the years from
And,
Bachelor's Grove sightings, Resurrection Mary sightings at Holy Sepulchre Cemetery, sightings of Mary Alice Quinn, sightings of this, sightings of that, sightings of the other.
some of this.
Some might take.
There's a number of things that have
I
physical
listen to
evidence.
them all. I listen to them all, but some of it is a little, and maybe the person has experienced something. Maybe not even what they're saying they experienced, but they may have actually experienced something. I don't know. You just don't know. But I take them all. I'll write them down. I'll keep them in the recesses
That's
of my
how I do
mind.
it.
And that's it. Yeah. There's
I,
something
you
to
know,
it.
I probably wouldn't have been a believer in the Richie appearing, disappearing thing if it didn't happen for myself. I mean, people.
But see,
were-
Richie's not dead.
I know that. That's
Yeah.
why other people were saying this throughout the years, and I'm just dismissing it as Richie's going off to take a leak in the woods. But
Now,
then things got more extreme.
But now, one other case
And
I
then
know,
I saw
one other
it.
case from history I know of someone claiming to see a ghost of a person,
Right.
and the person wasn't dead when they saw him, was none other than Mary Todd Lincoln herself. Mary Todd Lincoln actually claimed she saw the ghost of ex-president, 10th president,
Right.
10th U.S. president, John Tyler, in the Blue Room of the White House.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
But the
yeah.
trouble with that is she saw him before he was dead. She actually saw him there, and he wasn't even dead yet. So was it a case of time, where something was, in time, sort of like
very well
videotaped
could
there,
be.
and then when the conditions are just right, the right person, everything's right with the everything clicks, and all of a sudden it's just replayed back for you like a residual.
Well, time does not appear to be linear. It seems to be a little bit malleable, where things you do in the future really can change your past.
Yeah.
You think that'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird things going on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna give you a story that sounds really a stretch. I mean, how does this make any sense? It was about, I don't know, a few weeks or a month. I forget how long it was. It wasn't too long.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the subconscious factor, maybe
Okay.
not. We're gonna leave it open ended here.
Yeah.
Why do I have certain thoughts? So here I am, roaming around the room, got my hands behind my back, just thinking thinking really hard. And I close my eyes to speak with those out there at the Grove. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I want to meet myself in time. Would that be possible? Could you guys work that out? And I got this really funny feeling. And I just left it be. And that time went on, I said like the month or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody shows up at the cemetery gates gawking at me, a couple, man and woman, just gawking, came up, interrupted me, and said, "Excuse me, how'd you get here so fast?" I go, "What are you talking about?" "Well, we just saw you leaving on the way out down the path. Did you run around or something?" "Wait, that's you. That's your black bag." And like, "Honey, isn't that him?" "Yeah, that's him." We say, because now they're even walked up even closer next to me, talking to me, and they're like, "No, that's you. You got to be effing with us, And they
So was it
interrupted
a
me.
case of time travel?
Well, it makes you
Even for
wonder-
those couple
well, here's
minutes,
the, here's
was
the,
it a case
here's
of...
the thing. The time aspect out there is interesting.
Mhm.
The idea that I actually asked that, and people are now reporting seeing me in places that I'm not supposed to be in. Now, here's the other funny part. About 30 seconds to a minute, whatever it was, about a minute before they showed up, out of nowhere, I'm standing by the Fulton Stone, and I had just arrived. I had just arrived at the cemetery. I felt utterly compulsed to just leave the cemetery. I'm not leaving. Why do I want to leave? I'm visually picturing myself walk down the path.
Basically, the way this is going is you did leave. Those people saw you leave.
No.
But then they
I'm
saw
I'm just
you-
telling you the timeline. I'm not telling you how this is working. This is the investigative work.
Yeah.
How is this working? First, here I'm asking, can I see myself in time? That would be really well. There's a reason why. There's actually a really good. It wasn't just for entertainment or anything like that. There was actually a physics thing. I wanted to meet myself in time, so I asked this question. I get to the cemetery one day, and suddenly I'm compulsed to leave. I visualize myself walking down the path, really feeling compelled to leave, and I actually said out loud, I ain't leaving. I just got here. And that, I'm thinking, like, is this within me? Is this external? We're just leaving it be for now. And then we have a couple walking up they're coming down the path, get to the entrance, gawking, telling they just saw me leave, totally convinced that I'm fucking with them, kept interrupting me continuously, even after that, saying you're really...
Well, you either have the secret of dematerialization or it's some sort of a time warp.
there's something to be learned here, and what it is, I don't know yet. Like I said, there was a reason why I asked the question for the physics reasons, but it left...
Maybe you do, Pete. Maybe you do.
like everything else, it left me more questions.
Maybe
than
you can
so-called
dematerialize, but you just haven't learned to master it.
I don't think I did.
How would you explain it? Was it a time warp? Even for those few
That's
seconds?
a pretty loose term.
Well, what else would you call it? I don't really know.
Apparently, on the path, I was acknowledgeable, and that is reported. People can... So it isn't like you're just seeing something just walking by, and you're not able
Right.
to talk to it. Like Richie the Ghost. You're able to talk to him, converse, before he disappears. And you'll see within seconds that he's somewhere else very far away. What are we learning here? What is this? A lot of questions here. Okay? Now, if I had just randomly came up with the question of I want to see myself in time without all these long drawn out thought processes that I was having that day, I would chalk it up to me subconsciously knowing because I'm precog that I see something happening in the future and it gets played out differently in my head. Okay? That's a version of making something out of nothing. Okay? in this case, I don't. When you get used to this stuff, you got to pay attention. Like, no, there was more going on. There's a lot more going on in my head. There's a lot more when I ask these questions. It's like it gets so.
I kind of get the picture. I kind of see what you're going on here, and you're not the first person I've heard this from. Personally, myself, I physically have never experienced this, where I've been seen someplace and then seen someplace else within a matter of seconds. Now, to be walking on a trail and someone sees you and almost to the point where they say, oh, bye, see you later, and then they meet you a second later up at the front of the gate. How did you manage to get from the back all the way up to the front again like that? But I've known this to happen to people. But one thing I will say is most of the times when there's some sort of an unaccountable time that you just can't account for, like what this would be, even though it's a very short time, usually it's attributed to some sort of an encounter with an extraterrestrial. 99.9% of the people that I know that have had some sort of a experience like this, where they've been seen in one spot and then seen in another spot, and there's some sort of a time frame that can just not be accounted for. They usually say it's some sort of an encounter with an extraterrestrial, and maybe that's what you're having. Maybe it's not encounters with spirits from
we'll
beyond.
come to that discussion.
We'll have to continue that.
You will.
Yeah,
I'll have to
this
get
is
going to
be the last
day.
story for this show. Yeah.
We should probably cap it right now.
Yeah,
anyway.
we will. We'll pick that one up again. But that's my experience with that, and I've gotten that from a few folks.
Let's just put it this way before we close out.
Yeah.
There, from what I've been able to come across, is there is a form of technology being used in some way, shape, or form at the Grove, and it ain't dead people operating that.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's something
and it's
extraterrestrial.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fascinating. Sounds bonkers, right?
Yeah.
But I was only going where the evidence was leading me.
You keep
and
an
I
open
kept
mind.
coming back.
I keep an open mind about everything. Yeah, any stories I hear. Yeah.
Of in some cases, some type of tech being used that's causing some of these effects in the environment, and we'll get back to this.
Yeah.
But
all right, Pete.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. As usual, Pete, it's always great having you on this show. Love this because I just never know the way the conversation is going to go here, and it's great. I love this. Please come back again anytime you want to. Anytime I do this show, when you see we're doing a show, you feel like popping on, you pop on. Yeah, you come on. Yeah. Okay, we're going to let that go. Thank you, folks, for listening in. Thank you again, Pete Crapia. Always wonderful having you here. There again, folks, I just want to remind you, please keep Mr. Jack Ryan and his family, Deanna, the daughter Jennifer, and there's another daughter, I forget the other daughter's name. Please keep the Ryan family in your thoughts and prayers. They're just going through a real tough time right now with Jack being on hospice care like that. We just don't know, how long he's going to be still with us here. So keep the family in your thoughts and your prayers. And John, thank you so much for allowing me to come here and do these shows once a month like this. This is an absolute joy for me to do. I love this. I always learn so much doing these. They're interesting, and I'm actually seeing now. We're picking up more people are watching. We get 1 new view, 2 new views. We get this. I don't think we'll ever hit the 1 million mark, but nonetheless, people are listening to the show, and that's great. I'm glad people are listening to this and at least enjoying what we have to say. And also, too, there was just something else I was going to say now. I just lost my thoughts. Maybe I went through a time warp there. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. This week, Thursday, the Justice Library. I'll be there 6:30, talking there again, mostly about Black history, African American history. Nothing too much to do with the paranormal on that one. If you have nothing to do that evening, pop out. Tomorrow night at Chuck's restaurant, palm readings over there. If you want to pop out and do that, have a little fun with the Mardi Gras at Chuck's, and then we can do palm readings for you there. And other different things will be around. May 2nd, the tour with the Irish Legends. If you're interested in that one, key up Irish Legends on your Facebook page or on their page. It'll pop up. You'll see all the details about that, where you can sign for it, what you have to do to get registered for that. And that's it. Just keep an eye for these other events and things going on. And thank you so much, folks, for listening to this show. And everyone have a wonderful evening. Please be careful the next couple of days. We're going to get some snow. Just stay safe. Thank you, folks. Good night.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Tricek from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Paranormal Radio was directed and produced by John DeVita. The executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network is Mr. John Secondo. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, February the 24th, the year 2020. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.